Hey guys, so I just got asked something. I just read something I've been asked on YouTube. I answered it the other day, but I've read it again now because someone's discussing on the thread. And it's someone who has chosen to not believe in God. And they're saying because based on their logic, they can't believe in God. But to me, that's based on the fact that they can't bring down their prefrontal cortex, which is like the Gestapo of the brain. That they can't get there. As someone like Roald Dahl wrote very beautifully in a quote I love is, those who don't believe in magic will never find it. Now, I don't believe in God anymore. I know God. I know God intimately. And this person is trying to use logic. Now, I've had recently, I screenshotted this because I thought it would make an interesting video, an atheist who was using logic to try and refute the Bible. And I was in agreement with him that a lot of the things that Christians claim is just bogus and you can't possibly claim it. But what he couldn't cope with was that, logically speaking, the Bible, written thousands of years ago, says that the tribe of light has the same number of members as the constant speed of light. And I brought that to him, and he replied with many links saying this is when the speed of light was discovered. And I said, but if that is when the speed of light was discovered by modern science, why have none of these scientists put two and two together on something very simple and said, why does that tribe of light, the tribe of Judah, have exactly the same number of members as a recent scientific discovery? And he couldn't cope, he couldn't move outside of the logic he had, because according to him, science is God. Now, that's just one little thing that was in my mind about it all. That persons following logic, often they can't bring down the prefrontal cortex. They can't bring down this Gestapo of the brain to be able to say this is what's going on. Now, just because they knew the speed of light, just because someone knew the speed of light when the Bible was written, doesn't mean that they were interrelated with God. It could have been beings from somewhere else, another life form, an alien life form, if you might. Could have been. It could have been divine information channeled. Could have been that also. It doesn't prove that. But to prove God and to prove my relationship with God comes from communing with God. This is not something that I just imagine. This is the guidance I get has built everything I do here. Now, call it chance coincidence that by following a numerological synchronicity, I wound up in Tanzania. But what I learned to do is to alter my state of consciousness, to change the frequency of my body. Now, you can do this in many ways, and this is why I've chosen to grab the camera now, because right now I've got a very empty stomach. And you can go through various things, fasting, so on and so forth, to alter the way your body is, to surrender your flesh and to move into a state of just higher consciousness, of higher electrical energy. But right now I've got a fairly empty stomach, and because I want to commune with God and I want to raise my consciousness, I want to vibrate in a different way, I'm going to go for a run. And this is a simple thing that I can do sometimes. I can go for a run and my energy will sit more higher in my body, and I find it easier to pray and get guidance and commune with God. Now, God doesn't necessarily speak directly with a voice. He has spoken with a voice to me on many occasions. And can I say it's God? I don't know. Maybe it's my higher self. Maybe it's an angel whispering in my ear. But I remember fasting the day before Dominic came into my life, and I had an enforced fast. I lost my appetite and it was gone, and I knew it was something to do with God. I know this from all the fasting I've done in my life. And that night, whilst praying and meditating, I heard the voice clearly say, "Take my children into your home." The very next morning, I woke up, went into the village with Tom, and he came and said, "We've got an emergency. Dominic, out of the children's fund, has been made homeless. All his family had now died, and his guardian won't take care of him." And I said, "He comes to live with me." And Tom said, "Don't you want to think about it?" And I told Tom what had happened the night before. And he said, "Okay, I understand then. God's asked you to take the children into the house, then so be it." Because I was fasting, I heard God more clearly. there's a good chance if I was eating too much food, certainly if I was eating too much food, or if I was standing in a nightclub or staring at a television or drinking alcohol, I wouldn't have heard that, and I might have made a different decision that day. And everything that goes on in Feather's Tale might not be happening now. This is altering your consciousness comes from not bogging and grounding your body constantly. It also comes from getting rid of your prefrontal cortex. It comes from not thinking. And when people think they have logic, the problem you have there is when you shatter their logic with something, they can't come away from it because that's how they hold on to their reality. Now for me, I don't have a need to hold on to reality like that. I'm happy to believe in magic because I've seen it. I was happy to believe in it before I saw it. I saw too much beauty around me to just call it chance. And I have too much logic, funnily enough, to call a synchronicity coincidence. It's mathematically impossible to call the synchronicities I see going on in life a coincidence. But people are not observant enough, they're not present-minded enough to see it. But I thought I'd record this tiny little bit before I go for my run. And then when I get back from my run, I will drink some water, probably have a short shower, a wash in a bucket, and then I will start recording again, because I feel in going for that run I will be able to elevate my consciousness, and I'll be able to elevate my vibration, and I'll be in a better state of being to be able to find the right words, to be able to pull through the right things to say in relation to this subject. And this is one simple way that you can raise your consciousness. Run on an empty stomach, do exercise on an empty stomach, do yoga on an empty stomach, but do a lot of it. What you're doing is you're surrendering your flesh, you're pushing it into a place of weakness, to a point where you're running so low on energy that your brain stops thinking. And when your brain stops thinking, you can start feeling, and then words can even come from those feelings. So, I'm heading for my run now. Let's see what I'm like when I return. Okay.
There is no life I know that compares with pure imagination. When you see, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.